All right, guys. Sorry, I'm muted. I'm sorry. I think I gotta turn the audio down a little bit since I had to turn it up deep for this report. But yeah, this is the first day after the tariffs have been announced, and the market is chaotic. Honestly, Apple was down one of the most. Stocks is down to 208s. Palantir is down to 82s. Lululemon down to 240s. Microsoft down to 370s. Palantir, again, I think I already said that one. Amazon down to 180s. Meta sitting at 550s right now. Everything's down big. Tesla at 260s. So a lot of stuff have negatively reacted to these tariffs announcements that we had yesterday. Yeah. All right, guys. So yeah, look at Tesla down to 260s. Honestly, we're right at 19,000, which is a big psychological level on the NQ here. But it's even worse than this. We got down to 950s. Not that long ago, we got down to 18,819 yesterday. So yesterday, the NQ hit 18,819s here. Guys, this is a pretty low level. And this is the level you want to pay attention to. If we're looking at NVIDIA, it's still the same level we talked about. The same level is, again, we talked about this level yesterday. The same level is here for NVIDIA. It is 102.15. 102.15, this level right here is a big level. If we break under this level for NVIDIA, stuff might hit the fan. Amazon recently breaking down as well here. Was it still up? Okay, here, my bad, guys. Let me turn the music down a little bit. There you go. That should be a little bit better. But yeah, market is chaotic this morning. Kind of crazy. NASDAQ under 19K right now as we speak. Just dipped under 19 at 18,000. So the NASDAQ is effectively, let's see how much we pulled back here on the NQ. Like percentage-wise total from the highs at 2240s. We were at highs, 2240s. We are now down to 18,989s. So the NASDAQ is down 16%. 16%. And honestly, it dipped down more than that. It got down to 820s. So, it looks like, yeah, it got down to 820s. So 18,820. And so at that point, the NASDAQ had dropped over 16%. So, yeah, it ain't good. It ain't good. Markets are definitely red right now. And I think today is a very, very, very important day that you want to pay attention to. All right, guys, so let's see if we can print this. Yep. Let's see if we can print this. Alright, guys, we just gotta figure out how to print this thing, man. Print layout. Really, I could just copy and paste this. Yeah. All right, sorry guys, I'm real quick. I gotta kind of do something for my son here for school. My son is so much like me, unfortunately, with schoolwork, dude. So I gotta help him. Copy this. All right, there we go. Let's print this mode. All right, chat. So, do you think the market bounces back? We already did a poll here. So we already did a poll. And the question basically is, does the market rebound back up, or do we continue down today? I think we're going to have to wait a little bit closer. It's still pretty early. Honestly, the market's really close to these lows at 18,819. So we're very close. You can see Nvidia's turning down too, and I think if Nvidia breaks under that 102.15 level, yeah, it ain't good. Sorry, I'm trying to make sure my printer is working here. I'm trying to print something. It's just making noise. Hold on one second. There we go. That thing is printing. All right, good. Printers are honestly majestic and mysterious, bro. Like, you'll do everything right, still won't print sometimes. You'll do everything wrong, somehow it prints, you know. All right, guys. So, again, let's see if we break under this 820 level. Let me catch back up on the chat. Music is still too much. Okay, I'll turn it down a tad bit more. That should be better. Yeah, honestly, tomorrow we got the non-farm payroll report. The non-farm payroll report, unemployment filings are today, and then we got the unemployment rate tomorrow. So, yeah, it's a big day. Honestly, it's a big day. Is it time to buy the dip? I don't know, man. I don't know. It's too bearish for me to start buying right now. I mean, I know that kind of contradicts something I say earlier, but I need to wait for things to settle a little bit. So we'll see. Yeah, we'll see, honestly. I kept calling yesterday doomsday. I didn't think it would actually play out like that, but I guess it was correct. It was kind of doomsday. Yeah, maybe they'll be good, like, long-term for the country, you know. Like, if they rebuild U.S. manufacturing, maybe that is a context in which they'll be good. And again, I'm apolitical. I'm not really super political in nature with anything, but... Why? Why did they, Pawn? What's your opinion on the tariffs? Well, I mean, I think tariffs are obviously going to cause short-term pain. You know, the last time he was president, the same thing happened in which he basically started a trade war. It was more focused on purely China last time, but this time it's focused on basically a lot of other countries. And I think it's going to cause short-term pain in a time in which we already have high inflation. And so I think... yeah, but I think it might be okay long term. I mean, tariffs are generally better long term, and I think it depends on how the other countries react. in all honesty. Like, how they react is going to influence everything else, and so we'll just have to wait and see how they react. No, I'm not really political as a person. I kind of hate the whole realm of politics. I dislike politics in general. I just don't get too wrapped up in it. I think once you get to the top, they're all the same anyway, and so I just kind of avoid, stressing my life out about it. I'll put it this way. Every single group of people in every single election thinks that election is the most important election of all time, right? It never actually is. In hindsight, it's kind of just another speed bump or whatever in the road, and none of it matters that much in the end. People just get wrapped up into fighting each other and arguing about it, and so I just kind of avoid it. There's storms. I mean, I don't really vote. I never vote. I don't ever vote on anything. And I know some people are going to shame me for that, and that's fine. But, yeah, people do. They get crazy over it. Right, that's what I think as well. Tariffs will get negotiated and reduced down. Market sold off because they weren't ready for the way tariffs would be applied. No one anticipated the way it would be done. That should hopefully be fully priced in this week. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. All right, guys, and honestly, one of the biggest stocks that we haven't been looking at too much is Apple. And obviously, Apple is really going to negatively react to these tariffs. Why? Because they import so much stuff overseas. From overseas, I should say. Apple imports all kind of stuff overseas, and then look at them. They are, they're down. Obviously so. I mean, they're down big on these tariffs because they import a lot of other goods. It's not even that they import it, but they use they do both. They import as well as they use a lot of products from overseas, and that's going to make their margins worse, much worse. And so there's a big reason. It's one of the main reasons the market's dropping. Apple specifically, because Apple's down big from the tariff news. Essentially, is what happened. All right, chat. Yeah, it's a big day, honestly. At 8:30 Eastern Standard Time in about an hour, we got jobless claims, unemployment filings. Honestly, a big report. We got an hour, though. Really, we got about 58 and a half minutes. But yeah, close enough. Yeah. Here's the timer. Looking at our poll, 62% of people think we continue down today. 37% of people, 63, 30, 38 now. Or no, yeah, 63, 37, sorry. Yeah, we got jobless claims coming out today. They're expected at 228K. Tomorrow we have unemployment and payrolls, as well as Powell speaking as well. And then next week we got CPI, I think. Right. So that's a busy time. A busy time. Yeah, and I don't know what the market wants. I don't know if the market wants weak economic data or strong economic data. I really don't know. I don't know which one they want. All right, guys. Elon apparently has been having baby mama drama. Ashley St. Clair posted on X.com, Elon's platform. I'm sure he likes X.com, but I think sometimes he doesn't like it because his baby mama messaged him saying, quote, Elon, we asked you to confirm paternity through a test before our child, who you named, was even born. You refused, and you weren't sending me money. You were sending support to your child that you thought was necessary until you withdrew most of it to maintain control and punish me for disobedience. But you're really only punishing your son. It's ironic that your last effort in court was to try to gag me while you social media channel you literally own to distribute derogatory messages about me and our child to the entire world. It's all about control with you, and everyone can see it. America needs you to grow up, you petulant man-child. End quote. Ashley St. Clair, Elon, one of Elon's baby mamas. I mean, look, I'm not judging anybody for their baby mama drama. I'm really not. It happens, you know. But like, I figure if you got billions and billions of dollars like Elon, slide her a couple mil, you know. Your kid will be taken care of. That's what you want in the end, you know. But man, all right, guys. With that said, Nasdaq under 19,000, Apple down to 207s, Tesla down to 265s right now. Dude, that was probably the least political post I could read. It was about, you know, Elon's baby mother and the drama that ensued from it. You know, nothing to do with politics. And you also don't want to be those people who get so emotional about me wanting to keep this apolitical that you, like, you know, whine and cry about it. I'm not saying that's anybody here. I'm just saying, like, you don't want to be that guy. Like, anybody here should understand why I want to keep it apolitical. That should be a pretty understandable thing. Like, I get it. Certain people, like, make that the focal point of their life. Politics, yeah, but that's just not me. That's not what I'm interested in doing. And you should respect that, you know. Everybody here should respect that. Most people here actually do, and they understand. So it's all love here for me, guys. But yeah. Do we buy the crypto dip? Is crypto down that much? Let me see. Bitcoin. Honestly, Bitcoin's up over the last day, though. So Bitcoin's actually green relative to yesterday at the opening bell. So it could be worse. Circuit breaker hits today? Maybe. It's 102.15 for NVIDIA. Again, I'm not an investment professional. I'm not liable if you lose money. I have no idea if that level will hold, and I can't guarantee anything. All I know is I'm watching 102.15 for NVIDIA. That's the 7-month low. Who freaking knows what's going to happen to it, though? Who freaking knows? As the poll on the bottom says, we're not liable for losses. You know, have no idea what I'm talking about. Might be wildly wrong about anything I say. Don't copy me. That's all I'm saying. Circuit breaker is like they have certain specific circuit breaker percentages to where if the S&P drops a certain percentage, they halt it for a period of time. All right, so there's 7%, 13%, and 20% from the previous closing price. The first two levels halts the market for 15 minutes. So the S&P will stop if it breaks 7% down on any particular day for 15 minutes. If it consequently hits 13% down, it will halt again for another 15 minutes. If it's down 20% in a specific day, if it drops for 20%, it closes for the rest of the day. And so 7%, 15-minute halt, 13%, 15-minute halt, 20% close for the rest of the day is the circuit breaker percentages. Yeah, the real question is what other news do we get today, man? Honestly, we got jobless claims unemployment filings dropping in 50 minutes here. 50 minutes. It's a big report. It's a big day. We'll see what happens. But yeah, you just want to be careful. All right, guys, so we are here today. Honestly, look at Apple. Apple is one of the biggest reasons the market's breaking down here. And I think we got to look at this level for Apple here, which the new level for Apple, the new low is 207s. This is 206.50s. So 206.15. So I think 206 is the new level for Apple. It's the low of the last 7 months. 206 right here. And that level on NVIDIA, again, is about 102. 102, 102.15, whatever you want to call it. But it's a big spot. A big spot. Bitcoin, obviously, down massively. The NASDAQ still testing 19K. Yeah. Circuit breaker may be off on sportswear shipping stocks. Yeah, sorry. I had to call my wife. My son has a hatchet. quiz today. And so I printed them out a study guide using AI. You know, top 3 study guides in the world right now. And so that's what I had to call my wife and be like, yo, come get the study guide. Give it to Jack. Let him study. Paradigm shift, maybe. Where's Nike at right now? Honestly, Nike down to 58.60s. 58.60s. We'll see if it holds. Honestly, Nike's looking weak, too. You got to wonder if the market and economy fails short term, struggles, crashes, corrects, recessions. If that happens, people are going to buy less Nikes, I think. You know, gold, honestly, is one of those stocks. Lululemon down huge, down under 250, looking hella weak. I'm not going to say I told you so with Lululemon. But, you know. Gold, honestly, pulling back pretty big this morning. Gold dropped from $3,200 an ounce all the way down to $3,100 an ounce, basically. So gold down a pretty large percentage as well. Yeah. Sorry, Pawn's sending me some stuff. BlackBerry forecasts lower annual revenue due to weak demand. Yeah, so Nike down on tariffs as well because they're relying on Asian sourcing. And so they're going to have to pay higher tariffs, worse margins. Apple stock, hardest hit of the Mag 7. Apple has expanded production to other countries such as Vietnam and India. Broad range of tariffs will also hit Vietnamese-made goods with a 46% levy and Indian exports with a 27% levy. They said, quote, Wedbush analyst Dan Eves says, quote, tech stocks will clearly be under major pressure on this announcement as the worst demand, destruction, supply chains, and especially China-Taiwan piece of the tariffs. Apple produces basically all their iPhones in China, and the question will be around exemptions and exceptions on this tariff policy, end quote. And that was Daniel Ives from Wedbush. So yeah, like I said, man, like I said earlier, tariffs getting absolutely hit. Hey bro, I printed you out that study guide, dude. All right, love you, buddy. Hey, you gotta close the door, bro. Hey, buddy. Thank you, buddy. Love you, buddy. All right. It opened again. Jack. This door used to squeak. If you guys remember, this door used to squeak. I'm going to go close it myself. Here. There you go. Got it that time. This door used to squeak, honestly. And so we put too much WD-40, too much grease in this thing. Now it just pops open. I could pop that thing open with my pinky now. You know. Top 3 least squeaky door in the world right now. Anyways, guys, let me catch back up. Mother of all dips. Yeah. Yeah, Apple obviously getting hit. All right, we got 700 people here. We still got 45 minutes before jobless claims unemployment. Cheers to you guys, everybody joining the stream here. Honestly, my viewership has gotten so much better. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you guys growing. Yeah, gold's coming down, but gold can deal with the pullback here. It's gold has made crazy runs and movements here. So gold has honestly gone absolutely nuts. No, I've not tried that smart film. And I'll tell you why. The reason I haven't tried it is because I don't like to put negative energy stuff in my... Like, call me superstitious. But, like, dude, like, I'm not going to put anything... Like, they have the water that's, like... That's the same thing. Like, the name of it. Like, I'm not going to drink anything that says that. I'm not going to drink any coffee that says that. I'm good on that. I'm good on that. No. Jerome Powell speaks on Friday at 11:35, I think. 11:35. You got great content and don't go on stupid rants. Bro, I definitely do sometimes. But everybody does. I sit here for 3-4 hours a day. Or sometimes more. And so every now and then we're going to go on a nice little rant about something. And that's okay. That's normal. Pretty standard, I think. Yeah, gold has made a crazy run, a crazy push, Palantir at 8260s, 8260. Microsoft at 370s. So Nike down big, obviously. Apple is obviously getting hit the worst, and Apple's getting pretty close to the 7-month lows, which again currently sits at about 206. 206 is the 7. Honestly, it's longer than that for Apple, actually. Yeah, so Apple. This is basically 8-month lows for Apple, 7.5-month lows for Apple. So Apple, and now it's testing it right now. Look at this. So Apple getting ready to test the 7-month low again, which again, 206.15. This level right here. I'll make it yellow and put it larger on the chart. This level right here. Low of the last 7 months for Apple. You also got to watch NVIDIA, of course. Like, you got to watch NVIDIA. NVIDIA at 104s. If it hits 102s, could cause problems. Thank you, Smart Film. I appreciate the donation, brother. Thank you, man. Yeah, and Newsmax with the tumble down. Not gonna say I told you guys so, but no. Somebody said she is 26, Musk is 53. I get it, but again, that's kind of his fault, Like, he can't choose to be with somebody like that and then complain about the consequences of it, Like, he's got to have accountability too. What's he got, like 15 kids right now? I mean, these are his own problems. They're really his own problems. And again, I'm not really wrapped up in politics either way. I'm not really for or against him. I'm just looking at the facts around everything. You get some people that are so political that they think that, like, just me talking about it is somehow political. Of course it's not. It has nothing to do with it. In the end, he makes his own decisions, and he's got to live with those decisions just like everybody else. Yeah, I mean, Newsmax, I told you guys the other day, up way too much risk in IPOs. I'm not going to buy that thing at the top. It just doesn't make any sense. It's still green from its IPO. It IPO'd at what, like $13 a share for Newsmax? Look, here's Newsmax right here. Yeah, I IPO'd at 14. Went all the way to 280, still at 48. So it's still up, hundreds of percent relative to where it IPO'd at. And so it's not like it was even like a failure, I think, here. It just didn't hold the crazy unrealistic gains that it put in following its IPO. It's currently at $50 a share, $48 a share. So still doing good. I mean, it's still up a couple 100%. NVIDIA at 104 still. So, we'll see if we break down today. It just depends. I don't know if jobless claims unemployment filings are really going to do this or cause any type of an influence, but we'll see. Yeah, Robinhood. Didn't Robinhood fall down big too? Yeah, Robinhood down to 38s. 38s. My Newsmax trade, I made more than money than the last 2 months. Oh, I made more money than the last 2 months. I went short at 175 on Tuesday. Hey, good job, bro. All right, guys. Robinhood. Is it time to buy Robinhood? I don't freaking know, man. I really don't know. Again, I asked people, does the market continue down today or bounce? 63% think it continues down. Only 37% think it's going to bounce back up here. Got 800 people here already. Still got like 40 minutes until jobless claims. So, you know. I appreciate it, guys. I appreciate it. Does the tariffs on Apple and Samsung really matter? Yes. Yes. Apple produces a lot of things overseas. They get their goods overseas. They import a lot of stuff here. And so their margins are going to be way worse with these tariffs, obviously. That's why Apple's having such a negative reaction to this and breaking 7-month lows, even leading the NASDAQ on the downside. It's because of these tariffs, 100%. And that's pretty predictable, I think, too. It's something that, like, I honestly, in hindsight, wish I would have seen that trade from the beginning. It should have been very clear, Apple, considering how much they import here from other countries, that Apple was going to negatively react. But I think it's easier in hindsight to see this, but yeah. So I saw the email yesterday. The email essentially said, the email essentially said that there's a rule now. I'll have to go back and read the email. Basically, it's a volatility rule, though. It's kind of like, it's essentially a very similar thing to what the markets do. Whenever, sorry, I'm looking at something else. It's essentially the same thing the circuit breakers do, right? They limit trading during super hyper volatile moments in markets, and that's probably the right move for them as a firm. I think that makes sense, you know. Yeah, maybe I'm misinterpreting that rule, but I don't know. All right, guys. All right, chat. So I gotta do something here. Top Step's new dashboard. Alright, guys, hold on. Got too many apps up here, dude. Alright, there we go. Yeah, the new dashboard's pretty dope. I gotta just close tabs. I got so many tabs up on my phones. Honestly, phones have gotten so powerful that you can. Speaking of Apple, I'm kind of a Samsung dude anyway, but the real question for today is, do we see a stagflation economic report? Like, do we see a stagflation economic report? Do we get high jobless claims? It's expected at 228, chat, 228. Okay, for some reason this is just struggling. Oh well, I'll figure this out later. Yeah, we got 4 accounts on Top Step, funded accounts. Honestly, you know what else has been growing like crazy? My X.com. Very, very useful. Very, very useful. Where's the oil doing? I honestly haven't even checked oil. Oil's down massively too. Look at oil on the right chart here. Down big. 67s right now. Honestly, it's not a bad price for oil though. Yeah. Stagflation is most certainly coming. Yeah, I don't think we're here yet. But I think we're close. I think we're close. Yeah, I've got access to the dashboard. It's pretty cool. The only problem is like, I keep trying to do it, but like, what? What? Okay. Yeah, the problem is that like, okay, there we go. I figured it out. Somehow I figured it out. I don't freaking know. Confirm shipping info. This is right. Why? Yeah, the new KYC thing is a little glitchy though. It is. Let me maybe exit this. Exit this. Exit this. Try to do it this way. All right, guys, so there is 8 a.m. here. So here's the 8 a.m. slump. Let's see if we get a breakdown. We're at 206.30s. Chat, 206.30s. All right, I finally got this thing working. Oh, wait, I gotta go get my ID. I'll have to go do this later. All right, guys, so yeah, Apple getting really close to the 7-month low here. That's the big level. Again, NVIDIA 102s, Apple 206, NASDAQ 18.8, basically 18,800. 18,819 is the technical level here, but I'm just going to round down to 18.8. On the NQ, Apple at 206, NVIDIA at 102s is the levels I'm watching here. Yeah, gold flushing. Hey, what's up, Beach Bum? Y'all go check out Beach Bum's channel. He's got some good swing trading content. Y'all go give that man a subscribe if you haven't yet. Palantir break it down as well, though. Oil down to 67s. Gold broke all-time highs yesterday after the tariff announcement. Got up to $3,200 an ounce. Very big day for that. Honestly, in 30 minutes, we have not only jobless claims, unemployment, we have trade deficit data, which is all more relevant with the tariffs. Obviously, import-export difference is very relevant. We also have tomorrow, guys, massive day, massive day. We got non-farm employment. We've got unemployment. Or we got non-farm payroll report. We got unemployment data at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. Then we got Big Papa Jerome Powell at 11:25 in the morning tomorrow morning. We're going to stream it all live here as we always do. So y'all just be ready for that. It's a big day. I don't know if we're going to go down or up at those levels. I really don't. Not an investment professional. I just think those are the milestone levels in which I'm watching. You know, one of the things I heard yesterday during the tariff speech is that, like, if you watch the levels I put on my charts, at least initially, we would go down and tap almost exactly those levels. A bunch of people in the chat were like, hey, man, your levels. We went right down to my levels and then tapped it and then bounced. And so I don't know if we're going to hold. I don't know if we're going to bounce. I don't know if we're going to test. I don't know what's going to happen, but those are the levels I'm watching, and then I'm going to try to play off of. If we break down underneath them and hold, I'll probably short, of course, and if the momentum's strong, I might short prior to that. As we get really close to those levels, I might attack them on the short side. It just depends on how the market moves. I can't really say what I'm going to do with those levels yet, but I'm certainly watching all of them. Again, NVIDIA 102.15, Apple at 206, and NASDAQ at 18.8. Those are big milestone areas for those symbols. And so they're just points in time that you want to pay attention to for sure. Yeah, so Pawn is telling me this. You can't short IPOs in the first few days after IPOing. And so the guy who said he made a bunch of money shorting Newsmax, you know, you can't short them, you know, within a certain period of time after IPO date. And so maybe there's a reasonable conclusion to this explanation, but I don't know. Yeah. It's an interesting time in markets, guys. It really is. And honestly, it's all the while good for my channel. So I'm not really mad about anything. It's all good for the channel, but AI out of control. Good, wild, bad is the question. Can't wait for the bell to ring. Factories. Okay. Yeah, that's cool then, Frazier. All good, bro. Again, I'm not saying you're lying. I just didn't understand that. Somebody brought that to my attention. Nike currently breaking down more. 57.50s for Nike. 57.50s. We still got 25 minutes left. Chat, 25 minutes. Ooh, what a day. What a day. All right, so yeah, guys, just for everybody on Top Step today, A lot of people received this email, including me, and it says, we want to ensure all traders are fully aware of the contract specifications for the products they trade, especially when it comes to price limits. Getting stuck in a position when the market is locked, limit up or down, can put traders out of business, and we hope that you are aware of these risks and avoid them. As a reminder, trading within 2% of a price limit is prohibited at Top Step. Holding a position near these thresholds is considered high risk and not allowed. This rule exists to protect both you and the firm during volatile market conditions. Markets are moving fast and some equity index products are already priced down over 4%, and we're approaching levels where Top Step's price limit rules would go into effect. And so, ultimately, be careful. That's all I'm saying. Just be careful, guys. Be careful. There's no really bad jobs report that leaked, bro. Every single big report, somebody says it was leaked. I'm not sure why people do that. I don't know if they're trying to influence things and they don't really understand that they're not going to really be able to influence things like that or what. But again, every major report, they say it's leaked and it's almost always wrong. You know, they'll be like, oh, it was leaked at 2.6%, and then it shows up at 3% or something. So it's usually wrong. And I've said it once, I'll say it again. At this point in time, they should have guessed it right even without knowing it. They should have gotten lucky at least once and gotten it right with how wrong they are about the leaks. The leaks are out, guys, you know. My take on the tariff news is simple. Countries that produce things overseas and import them are struggling. I don't know what's going to happen. I know volatility is high. I know it's risky right now. I know Apple down to 207s, and Apple is one of the ones that's leading the market down today. Apple importing things from overseas, a lot of factories overseas. Their margins are going to be noticeably worse after the implementation of these tariffs. And so with that, Apple obviously is down a huge percentage now, and they're getting ready to test 7 to 8 month lows at around 206. And so I'm just watching for chaos here. We got 20 minutes before jobless claims unemployment filings come out. They're expected at 228,000. Today we got tomorrow payrolls and unemployment, as well as Jerome Powell. So the week is not up. We still got a lot of stuff happening this week. A lot of red fear in markets this morning. And yeah, we'll see what happens. We got about 1,000 people here already, and it's 8 a.m. So yeah, if you guys give me a follow on x.com, it's at beginner trades. At beginner trades is my handle. Yeah, here it is right here. Give me a follow. If you look at what we post, we cover all the news, how much the tariffs are, what's going on, and like as soon as it happens, it's just a great place to follow along with finance. There's the link right there in chat. Give me a follow if you haven't already. After jobless claims, we'll get our daily news post out here, and then we'll report on breaking news as it happens. Yeah, NVIDIA is an American company. I mean, they produce things in overseas a lot, and so it's still going to negatively affect them, but they're an American company. But they still produce things overseas. Just as similar to Apple is an American company, but it produces things overseas and so forth, right? Like, where they produce things doesn't matter if they're incorporated in the United States, and so that's what it is. Yesterday you said no one should be a perma bear. Today perma bears win. Now, I mean, Kevin, I feel like you're just trying to stir the pot. I don't think you actually believe what just came out of your mouth or what came out of what you typed. You know, you're literally ignoring exactly what you typed. Perma bear means that you're always bearish long term. And so that would mean you're bearish 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now. Do you genuinely think if you took a short position today and you held it for 20 years, i.e. a perma bear, that position would be profitable in the S&P 500 or the NASDAQ? Genuine question, bro. If you don't believe that, then you're just trying to stir the pot, dude. Okay, if you genuinely believe you can hold a position today short on the S&P or the NASDAQ, and in 20 years you're going to be profitable, listen, it's all love. But you don't understand finance, bro. I wish you the best. Yeah, perma bear means $0 is your eventual target. Do you think the S&P, the Nasdaq, is going to hit zero? Of course it's not. That's a ridiculous statement. The market dropping 5% doesn't mean people who are permanently bearish win. Like that's again, it's hard for me genuinely not to laugh at that statement because it's just so out of touch with markets. And it's all good. Like, I get it being bearish and, pessimistic. I understand that sometimes. Yeah, 20-year negative trend probabilities has got to be very, very, very low. Again, I think bears are just desperate to be right. Right, like long term, right? And again, I truly believe if you get talked into shorting the market long term, like over a 20-year period, I don't know how bright you actually are. No offense, it's all love here, but if you short the market long term like that, I don't know how bright you actually are. I get it. People are pessimistic; they want to be bearish, and that's all good. And maybe we do crash. Honestly, I told people I thought the market would correct in December, very short term, very soon. The problem is that there's a difference between predicting a correction and being permanently bearish. Permanently bearish is a silly thing. The longer you go out, the less likely you are to make money being only bearish on the short side. You reverse that to perma bull, like being only bullish, and that's a little bit more reasonable of a take. I don't think anybody should be permanently bullish or bearish unless you're sitting on things for decades. But yeah, there's just a big difference there. There's a big difference, right? The longer you hold a short position, the less likely you are to make money in the Nasdaq and the S&P over decades. The less likely you are to make money. The longer you hold a long position in Apple, Amazon, the SPY, the Nasdaq, whatever broad market symbol you want, the more likely you are to make money. As decades go by, the greater the chance that you make money happens and increases. And so it's just something that anybody that understands finance recognizes what I just said is true, right? Like, this is objectively true. When you look back at over a century of data, nothing's definitive, but this is pretty true, right? And so you just don't want to get stuck like in one of the biggest sucker bets in the market, which is shorting the market long term for decades at a time. It's a silly thing. Yeah, I mean, you can short term. I'm not against that at all. This is what I said yesterday. Like, if you want to short, and this is a good conversation, which is why I'm bringing it up. If you want to short term, do your thing, make your money. Like, I can't knock that, and you might have good opportunity if you can identify good trends and on your direction, make your money. I'm not mad at that at all. But the longer you hold those positions, the worse your edge gets. And how do we know this? Like, look, we could take a look at the actual S&P 500 symbol and put a weekly chart up. Look at this right side chart here, guys. Like, look at this. This is the S&P 500. Now we're all the way back to the 50s. Ugh. Wait, somehow I've reversed the S&P 500 here. I don't know how. Ugh, there it is. Again, here's the S&P 500. Yeah. So it's gone from 17, or what did it open up at? It opened up at 1776. 1776. On a percentage basis, we'll call it $18 just to be even. What's it at now? The S&P is at what? It closed yesterday at 56.70. S&P 500 is up 31,400% in 100 years, give or take a year or two. So yeah, it's gonna go up long term. Short term, there's risks though. Short term, we could crash any day. We could correct. We could drop big. Nobody freaking knows. There's always variance there. But when the variance kind of gets lower and lower and lower, is long term. And again, we'll see what Nvidia does here, honestly. We're at 104.50s. Yeah, for sure. I had to track you down this morning. Yeah, I mean, we still got almost 1,200 people here. And so maybe for some people they don't, but yeah, people be arguing with me about dumb stuff here. Like, again, if you truly believe you should be permanently short on the S&P 500 or the NASDAQ, please do not invest. Please do not trade, okay? You don't have the mind for it. No offense. I'm not even trying to be, like, it's all love here. But, you know, it's a ridiculous thing. Even if you're right about that, right? And let's say stuff hits the fan in a crazy way. Your positions will be irrelevant in that situation, you know, irrelevant. Like, they won't mean anything anyway. And so it's one of the worst takes you can have. Like, I get it. The Big Short's a cool movie, you know. Like, I get it. Michael Burry, people romanticize him heavily. But, like, there's a difference between recognizing there might be some good opportunities to short markets and being permanently bearish. But many people would be left. Yeah. Oh, I'm sure now it's a troll. I'm sure it is, you know. It's a good conversation, honestly, regardless of whether it was or not, which I'm sure, you know, whoever it is going to say it was now. But, you know, I think they probably meant it and then got so much heat for it that then they kind of pivoted to, oh, it's a troll. It's a troll. I didn't mean it, you know. Anyways, Microsoft at 370s. Microsoft's honestly down a lot. So, like, I think Microsoft is probably one of those stocks that will be a really nice investment long-term. Not an investment professional. Don't copy me. I have no idea. Maybe it drops tomorrow. But I think Microsoft has dropped a lot. It's down from 470s. It's at 370 now. So it's down basically 25%. A little bit more than that, maybe. Or no, I'm sorry. It's down over 20% right now. So, and again, Microsoft owns a huge chunk of OpenAI. And so I think long-term, Microsoft's probably going to be pretty good. But who knows, man? Maybe, I think a DCA strategy. I'm not buying anything yet. We're too weak. We're too close to lows. Treasury's new tariff income is going to be spent. Yeah, jobless claims unemployment filings, guys, in 9.5 minutes. 9.5 minutes. Yeah, I mean, I don't think GOOG is bad right now. I like Google as a company, as a stock. I think they're pretty set, but you never know with anything. There's always risks everywhere. My coffee doesn't taste like sludge anymore, guys. I learned how to do it, man. I put like 6 scoops per 8 cups now. It's like the perfect mix of coffee. Yeah, I don't even know what that is, Naomi. Yeah, so in May, we're almost certainly not going to cut rates. It's 76.23, although the rate at which the likelihood of rate cuts have gone up significantly over the past few days based off of the weakness of markets here. Right now, we're still 77% likelihood in pausing rates and 23% likelihood of a cut in May. By June, though, that pivots to almost 60% chance of a 25 basis point cut by June. If we look at bond yields, which are very relevant under the current context of markets here, bond yields have been moving up a little bit yesterday, but they opened up really low today. So bond yields on the 10-year Treasury bonds are only 4% right now. Right around, like just under 4.1% for 10-year yields. And these are ways to track interest rate sentiment real time, right? You want to track interest rate sentiment real time. Look at bond yields. Bond yields and interest rates run parallel with each other. And so if bond yields are gapping down, that means we have a lower interest rate sentiment. And yeah, bond yields are opening up weak. They're at 4.06% right now. Yeah, it's not sludge anymore. It tastes better for sure. All right, guys. Hey, we got 8 minutes left. We got 1,300 viewers here. 7 minutes left. I'm sorry. We got exactly 7 minutes, too. But here's bond yields right here. Again, 4% right now. Basically 4%. Where's quantum stocks? What are they doing recently? You don't think there's a prenup there, Johnny Cruz? A prenup. I mean, I would assume Bezos is smart enough to get one. Especially if he's dating somebody, if he's a billionaire dating somebody noticeably younger than him. You better prenup it up. But I don't know. Bezos is kind of a nerdy dude. He might be one of those guys who, you know. Anyways, we're at 4.6% or 4.06% right now for TNX. Nike down. A lot of stuff's down. The opening bell will be very, very interesting today. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, well, lower bond yields, they can track mortgage rates and stuff. Mortgage rates need to come down too. The real estate market's still sticky. We've had high inflation and then high mortgage rates, which is causing an obvious downturn in real estate. Prices are still pretty high though. GameStop all the way down to 2150s. Nike bouncing a little bit though. Amazon still down to 184s. Palantir down to 82s. All right, guys, we got 5 minutes left. 5 minutes. Time is ticking. 5 minutes. The Nasdaq's not up. The Nasdaq's very red. Look at this big candle here. I mean, the Nasdaq's super red right now. I'll put gold up here on the right. Gold's breaking down a little bit too, so everything's kind of falling as we speak here. So gold's breaking down, Apple breaking down, Nasdaq breaking down some. We'll see what we get though. So again, Apple at 207s, Nasdaq at 18,998. So Nasdaq testing that 19,000 level, which I think is honestly a pretty big level. We got 4 minutes left. We'll put the Nasdaq and a couple other charts up here. Let me get everything rolling here. Man, what a chart. Pull up the Nasdaq. What a chart. All right, so here's the NQ. Again, I got to watch 19,000 here for sure. 19,000's right there. Got to watch that level, big level. Also, obviously, we got to watch the lows, which is down here at like 820s. Got to pay attention to those spots as well here. And then we got to look at the low of the last day or so. Or the last low of this morning, I mean. All right, guys, we got 2 minutes left. 2 minutes left. Gold's breaking down. Apple's breaking down. Nasdaq's breaking down. Put the SPY up here on the right. All right, 2 minutes. 2 minutes, chat. And we have services PMI as well. We also have import-export data, minus 122.5 billion for trade balance for February. Jobless claims expected at 225 to 228. We got a minute and 20 seconds. Hit the live button next to the play button. Make sure you're fully caught up on the stream. We appreciate it, guys. Fully caught up on stream. Yeah. All right, 1 minute left. Hit the live button next to the play button. Here, it's 8:30, guys. Look, I love you guys. I'm sorry. You have to wait about a minute or two. All right, guys, we got 40 seconds left. 40 seconds left. We're right under that 18,999 level, that 19,000 level. That's a big level too. Will the breakdowns continue? We got 30 seconds left. 30 seconds left. All right, guys. 20 seconds. 20 seconds. 15 seconds. Hit the live button next to the play button. 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. This timer's early. 2, 1, and here's the report. All right, trade balance data came in at minus 22.7 billion. Minus 22.7 billion. 219 jobless claims versus 225 expected. Weaker than expected jobless claims, and honestly, the Nasdaq has not responded to this almost at all. Okay, there's a little response. Again, 219 versus 225 expected. Continuing claims higher than expected. Jobless claims initial weaker than expected, or lower than expected, which is stronger for the economy. So again, this was better economic report. Stronger economy than expected. Less people filing for unemployment week to week. Higher negative trade balance, which means we had more imports than exports by a greater degree, by about 20 million, it looks like. But the market initially has reacted positively to this report, but honestly, it hasn't really reacted much, which is interesting. So the market honestly didn't really react too much to this report. I'll put this data up on screen. 219 versus 225 expected. 219 versus 225 expected. We'll put the data up on screen. Here's jobless claims. $219 versus 225 expected. 228, anywhere between that, is lower than expected. Honestly, the market hasn't reacted much. Yeah. Oh, thanks for the donation. I appreciate it. Thanks so much. Hey, thanks so much, Hanson. Gut feel alone, 235. Well, you were wrong. We were lower than expected, 219. But I appreciate the donation. Thanks so much. I said Hanson, which is what his name is. Like Mbop. Debadap doo wop. Not handsome. That's me. You know. Hanson. Hey, bro. You didn't say bye, bro. You never give me a hug, dude. Listen, do I need to give you a mark? Is that a lie? You didn't say. You said bye. You didn't hug me. Come on, bro. You gotta give me a hug every day, dude. I love you. Have a good day, buddy. Have a good day. Hey, you got that hatchet study guide I gave you? Study it, bro. Study it. Hey. Ask your math teacher. You gotta be on that kid, man. All right, look at the market turn down here. Market's down to 18,967s. 18,967s. So the lows of the day are right around 18,950. 18,950. Gold at under $3,100 an ounce. A lot of people are too young to understand that mbop joke. And it feels bad, man. It feels bad. A lot of y'all are too young to understand that joke. All right, guys. Testing these lows of the day here. Lows of the day. That was a dad joke if I've ever heard one. Again, jobless claims lower than expected, stronger than expected for the economy. It means less people filed for unemployment week to week. Trade balance data did show more negative than expected, though, which isn't good, of course. But yeah, we'll put this up on screen. All right, guys. I wasn't really a Hanson fan, but I had a sister. Okay, Nike just broke down. Nike under 57s. All right, look at this 850 level. Look at this 850 level. We bounced right off of it. Let's see if we hold here. Bro. Anybody that grew up in the 90s, those kids were popping in the 90s. The president just posted, the operation is over. The patient lived and is healing. The prognosis is that the patient will be far stronger, bigger, better, and more resilient than ever before. The market's down. Nike at 57s. I didn't really listen to them, bro. They were like too teeny bopper for me, dude. But my sister and all her little friends loved it. They love these kids. The drummer. Ooh, the drummer. I don't even know what his name was. It was right before like NSYNC and all them, you know. It was some like Christian band. One of them's name is like Jebediah or something. I don't freaking know, man. I really don't know. All I know is they did Mbop, the song. That's all I know. Honestly, though, we bouncing right at 18,950s. 18,950s. Right, I had a sister, you know. I remember them. I was more into like Eminem or like DMX or like Blink 182 and Linkin Park and Limp Bizkit and them. You know, I was a kid in the 90s. Every kid was into them to a certain extent in the 90s. So, all right, guys, we're testing this low again. Yeah, Tupac. I like Tupac. Alanis goes hard, dude. She really does, bro. Like, she, you know, she's got good music. You got to love the music. I can't even hate on her, you know. All right, guys, we're going down. We're at 18,950s. 18,950s. Testing this level again. We'll see if we break underneath it. Again, if we break underneath this level, we might start heading down towards 18,820s. 18,820s, which is the low of the last 7 months. There's the break. We tested it for a second, and now we are breaking down under 18,950s here. 18,950s. Gold starting to rebound on this market weakness here. Metallica's good. It was a little bit like, by the 90s, Metallica was kind of like, I'm not going to say an old man band, but kind of, you know. I just never got into Metallica. All right, guys, so we're still breaking down. We're at 18,940s. I was like a skateboarder, so like my taste in music had to do with that, you know, subculture of music. And Metallica just wasn't really the skateboardery music that you listen to. Jobless claims were a little bit lower than expected, although continuing claims were higher than expected. So we're kind of mixed here. That's probably why the market didn't react. Jobless claims came in lower than expected, signaling less people filing for unemployment. For initial claims, which are the most important one, continuing claims, basically people that were already filing, did show higher than expected. So they showed, continuing claims showed 1.903 million versus 1.87 million expected. So that's kind of what happened here. A little bit higher than expected. All right, guys, we are still breaking down. We just cracked the lows of the day again at 18,930s. Gold is also tumbling down with the market as well. Bitcoin is a clunker. What's Bitcoin doing? U.S. Commerce Secretary Lutnick says other countries do not want U.S. corn or beef, according to Bloomberg. Bitcoin falling down with us as well here. Let's see if we rejected this 18,950 level, which was the previous low. Sometimes we reject at these levels here. Let's take a look. Yep, there's a little bit of a rejection right there at 18,950. Look at that support or resistance level. So this is what I'm saying. So like we move down, it confirms the level. So we move down, we test it, we rebound, we break underneath it, and then we hold that level as resistance. Kind of technical analysis 101. A lot of red in markets, guys. A lot of red. China says the downgrade of their rating by Fitch is biased and cannot fully and objectively reflect the actual situation. So yeah. Still breaking down here, guys, at 920. So we did reject right there at 950s, like we said. Continuing down here, we're at 18,920s here. 18,920s. Still falling here, still falling. All right, guys. So the big level here, now that we're breaking down, is 18,819s. These are the lows of the last 7 months here. The lows of the last 7 months that we were spiraling down into right now. You want to watch Apple here, guys, because Apple is very close to the lows of the last 7 months. Here's Apple on the bottom chart right here. These are the lows. This big yellow line down here is the lows. This line right here, lows of the last 8 months for Apple. 7.5 month lows right here. We break down underneath this, problems can occur. Let's see if we keep down. Palantir falling, Amazon falling, Nike falling, Apple falling, Bitcoin falling, Microsoft falling, IONQ, quantum stocks falling down too. Although Apple's kind of bouncing back some here. So Apple, you know, I mean, it's in a closer range to that spot, but it's still falling down. So again, China says the downgrade of their rating by Fitch is biased and cannot fully and objectively reflect the actual situation. Yeah, and this is after Fitch downgrades China to an A. Outlook is stable. TLT is flattish. So yeah, those are long-term bond prices. Now, don't get this mistaken for yields. Again, this is a big correlation that I talk about a lot here. That's really important if you want to understand the economy, markets, finance. You got to understand the bonds markets, right? You got to understand how they correlate with interest rates. Now, if you want to see what interest rates are going to do, which can help you accurately predict the future of economic outlook, then you got to understand these correlations. So number one is that bond prices like TLT and bond yields, they're different time frame bonds, but they inverse each other. And so an example of this is if TLT is moving up, TNX, which is yields, are probably moving down, right? So you can kind of see that correlation here. TLT, which is bond prices, up today. TNX here, which is bond yields, down today. So bond prices and yields per supply and demand inverse each other. Okay, that's the first correlation. With that in mind, bond yields and interest rates parallel each other. They follow each other, right? So if bond yields go up, interest rate sentiment is higher. If bond yields go down, interest rate sentiment is lower. And so in that logic, if we have weak economic or markets, it can be either weak economics or weak finance markets going down. What does that mean? That means people are less optimistic about the economy and market. And so in that regard, they think interest rates are going to be coming down to try to save us from those weaknesses, if that makes sense, right? So those three correlations, very important to understand in finance if you want to understand economics and markets. Again, bond prices and yields inverse each other. Bond yields and interest rates follow each other, parallel each other. And that's a good way to kind of see the reaction to interest rates in markets is by watching bond yields, because that way you can see what the reaction to markets are in terms of interest rates and interest rate sentiment. All right, guys, we're still breaking down here. We're getting closer. Chat, we're getting closer. All right, guys. So bond prices are spiking up. Apple is still pretty freaking low. Let's take a look at this now. Apple getting very close again to this previous 7.5 to 8 month lows here. Down to 206.50, 206, 50 cents away. We'll see if we continue down here, chat. We're getting very close to the market. Your return is the yield. Let's talk about bonds for a second. All right, say you buy $100,000 of a bond, of a 10-year treasury bond right now. 10-year treasury bonds pay what, 4% right now, 4.06% or something like that. We'll just call it 4% to make the math easy. Let's say you buy $100,000 worth of 10-year treasury bonds and the yield is 4%. That means for every year you hold those bonds, you're going to make 4%. So you're going to make $4,000 every year in interest payments from those bonds. And then the maturity date, if it's a 10-year treasury bond, that means you're loaning the U.S. government money for 10 years, and they're going to pay you 4% annually over a 10-year period. And so if over a 10-year period, you're going to earn $40,000. I didn't need to do this math. I should have obviously known that. You're going to earn about $40K over a 10-year period, about 40% return on your yield, on your 10-year treasury bond, right? That's what it is. I mean, and this is why perma bears long term get wrecked. All right, is because let's say you have that $100,000 and you invest it into the stock market. This is why you get wrecked in stock market. You hold it for 30 years, $100,000 probably going to turn into something like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. So that 100K is going to turn into about $1.75 million in 30 years, right? That is the big edge of markets. You want to know the biggest statistical edge markets ever gives you? This is it right here. 100K is going to turn into about $1.75 million in 30 years with compound interest. That's why Warren Buffett describes it as one of the, eighth wonder of the world or something like that. One of the wonders of the world, compound interest. And you can kind of compound with bonds depending on the structure of them. But this is the reason. But this is not guaranteed. You could always get unlucky and get caught in a crash or correction or pullback or whatever it is. But long term, generally like a 30-year period, you're almost certain to make money. It might not be this much. It might be more than this, depending on what markets do in that 30-year period, depending on what kind of tech revolutions happen in that 30-year period. But in the end, not an investment professional. Top 3 worst ever. Don't copy me. I'm not an investment professional. But if you're not investing, you're losing money over time. With that said, though, guys, if you want to day trade with me, check out TopStep. TopStep gives you a 50K demo. If you want to learn to day trade, do not fund your own account thousands of dollars trying to look cool in markets. Almost all day traders lose. I don't care what your guru says, what course you take, who you follow. Most day traders are about to lose money. And so you can either try to look cool in markets and lose thousands of dollars, or you could try a funded account program and learn to day trade that way. Even the day traders that do make money, it generally takes them years to learn, and they lose money the entire time. At least I did, and a large majority of them do. And so instead of that, try TopStep's funded account program. People might hate on these, but honestly, they're incredibly useful to limit risk while you're learning to trade with risk. They give you a 50K demo. If you can make 3K in profit on that 50K demo without losing 2K first, following their rules and conditions, they fund you 50K with a 90% split, and you get to keep your first 10K in profit. Before that, split kicks in, and they pay out millions of dollars. And so it teaches you how to trade under pressure. If you fail, you're only out $49 for the base one, at least. If you buy the base one, it's $49 roughly plus tax, so $50 or something like that. And that's a lot less risk than losing thousands of dollars. And most day traders lose. If you pass it, though, and if you're a good enough trader to pass it, again, a 90% split, that's very similar to funding your own account. Noticeably less risk. You get to keep your first 10K in profit. It just makes sense. And most pro day traders should be trading futures, in my opinion. No PDT rule. You can day trade the S&P, the NASDAQ, the Dow, the Russell. Gold patterns are very similar to blue chip stock patterns. And again, technical analysis on futures, in my opinion, is easier. The markets follow it. It has more liquidity. It's just the better market. If you want to check it out, they are an affiliate of mine. I'm the top 3 most biased person in the world because I get paid by them, but they're honestly incredibly useful for traders, and they're just really useful. I think it's much better for a trader to try this, fail, and then some of them are going to give up, and that's fine. It's better than putting up 5, 10, 15 grand or more and then losing that and, really genuinely losing lots of money. And so this is a great way to learn how to day trade. If you fail, they give you a practice account with real-time data anyway. And if you were going to buy a demo account with real-time data, it might cost the same amount anyway. So the value's there, in my opinion. The value's there. But I'm biased. If you want to check them out, here's the link. Great way to help support the channel. Market's bouncing back a little bit here. We're at 18.9s right now, 18.9s. All right, guys, we're bouncing back up. We're at 18.9s. Apple at 207s. Bond yield's pulling back here. Gold, honestly, let's talk about gold for a second again. Gold hit 30.80s now, honestly. Again, I'm not really against gold. I like gold. It's one of the best long-term inflation hedges, and in some ways, gold has outperformed markets over the last 30 years. With that said, though, gold is on a 8 to 9 year upswing. Right? That's generally not my favorite time to buy gold because gold can downtrend for a long time as well as uptrend. And so I don't want to get stuck in a 5, 6, 7 year downtrend on gold by buying it at the peak, at the highs. And I might miss out on some gains, and that's okay. One of the things I was talking about yesterday is not to have FOMO. You're going to miss out on stuff in markets. If you beat yourself up every time you miss out on something, you're just priming yourself to fail, to be honest. And so in trading, you got to condition yourself through repetition and everything else to just kind of not care so much if you miss out on certain moves. There's always other opportunities in markets. I would rather go into account preservation mode in instances like this than it's kind of like Newsmax, right? NMAX. I talked about this before. And I told this story yesterday. I'll go ahead and tell it really quickly again. But when I first started trading, I was up like $100 day trading. And I remember I was like, hey, I'm going to buy like 20 to 50 shares. I think it was a Roku, but it was on IPO day. This was in 2017. It was on IPO day. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to buy like 20 shares because 20 shares is small, right? And I just immediately get punished for like $400 within like 30 seconds or something like that. And I realized very quickly IPOs are super risky. I ended up buying Coinbase. Coinbase was at like 4 something at Coinbase. It never hit those levels again on IPO day. Coinbase IPO'd at it hit 420s. IPO day. I lost some money. It wasn't a lot, but eventually I made it a rule. Don't get stuck in the hype and buying IPOs. They're hella risky. You might miss out on some things, and that's all good and fine, but they're just super risky. You got to go into account preservation mode and just protect your account in moments like that. You live and you learn. Market's testing these lows again. We're at 18.87s. Yeah, Newsmax went crazy high up to almost $300 a share, and then it fell back down, and now it's at $45 a share. So Newsmax over the last few days went from $14 to almost $300 and back down to under $50 in 3 days. 3 days. I'm not touching that thing, man. Yeah. Yeah, we're going to stream the ISM services data at 10 a.m., of course. We always do. Market just cracked lows again. We're getting close, guys. We're getting very, very close here to the low of the last 7 months in the NASDAQ. The low of the last 7 months here. On the SPY, this level is at... On the SPY, this level is at 542.20s. We're at 544s, and it's at 542.20s. Basically, 542s is that low on the SPY. So just be careful, guys. Be careful. Very, very volatile day right now. Very volatile day. And again, stick around. Jobless claims unemployment out. All right, guys. All right, guys. Tariff news. Sheesh, guys. We got ISM services PMI today as well. All right, so again, we're at the opening bell. Sheesh, guys. Y'all be careful, man. Or we got 30 minutes until the opening bell. Y'all be careful. Amazon just cracked lows at 181s. Nike's still breaking down pretty big. It's at $55 a share. SPY is still falling here, but man. Flash crash today. We're getting close. I mean, again, the NASDAQ as we speak is down about 16% from highs, about 16%. So whether we see a crash today is, I mean, I think it's a little bit higher probability than normal. But I think crashes are rare, so we'll just have to wait and see. I'm not going to buy very close to these lows. That doesn't make sense to me. But maybe I'm going to miss out on some bounces, but that's okay. Again, I'm just not going to buy close to these lows of the last 7 months. I think that's too risky of a point to buy it at. Too many stocks are close to 7-month lows now. So, yeah, I just got to sit tight and wait. Looks like the Bears are riding the pole as well. All right. What a day, man. Spot gold reverses for the record highs overnight. From record highs overnight is now down. All right, guys, we're getting very close to this low. Look at this level right here. Again, you got to pull up NVIDIA too here, to be honest. NVIDIA down to 103.80s. I'll put Apple up on the top. Because both of these are... Apple's one of the reasons the market's getting dragged down. Again, much worse margins with all the tariffs that happen for Apple. Because they import a lot of stuff. And they need a lot of stuff from other countries to create their tech products. So, yeah. So the Swiss government finds U.S. government's calculations on trade tariffs incomprehensible and will clear up any misunderstanding in future contracts or in future contacts with U.S. authorities and work towards a solution. All right, so we're very, very close to this level, guys. Very, very close to this level. We got services PMI. Oh, man, we got less than 30 minutes into the opening bell, guys, and we are very, very close to these 7-month lows here. 7-month lows. In chat right now, do you guys think we break this level? I mean, I think we're so close to it, we got to at least test it today, right? Very rarely do we get this close to a big milestone level like this and not at least test it. Sometimes we break it and then bounce right back up. But we also sometimes get squeezes here from too many shorts jumping in as well. But yeah, very close to these lows now, chat. Very close. Yeah, most people agree. Yeah. I don't think it's a super controversial take there. All right, look at Apple, guys. So Apple turning here. Look at Apple turn. It's down to 206. 206. All right, chats. So, yeah, so there's a price limit going on. Yeah, y'all be careful. I'm checking a couple different things here. Yeah. Trading within 2% of a price limit is prohibited. Hold a position near these thresholds. High risk. Yeah, let me see this. Okay. We're getting really close to these lows here, Chad. Really close. United Airlines to hire more than 1,200 employees and 25 to support operations in San Francisco Airport. Vietnam's trade minister has sent a note to the U.S. asking for tariffs to be postponed. Describes them as unfair. Interesting. Again, if you want all these news reports that we're covering here, give me a follow on x.com. Give me a follow on x.com at beginner trades. At beginner trades. Yeah, completely free. Doesn't cost anything. We've been growing like crazy there too, so we appreciate the love there. All right, industry's first to market supermicro semiconductors NVIDIA HGX B200 systems demonstrate AI performance leadership on an ML-Perf inference version 5. Supermicro still down. Yeah, I mean, if you're losing huge sums of money today, you are probably trading a little bit too large. Let's be honest here. Oh yeah, we've had much bigger losses than this. I mean, this is volatility. Don't get me wrong. We're testing 7-month lows, and it's chaotic. But it's not the end of the world yet. Let's be honest. It's just not the end of the world yet. We'll see if what happens. Yeah, just nobody send anybody money. Too many people lie. If somebody asks for money or asks to send money, messages hit you with a sob story. You got a lot of people that basically farm donations that way by just making up sob stories and trying to hit people with it. So just don't donate to anybody. Don't get scammed here, guys. Yeah, it's a fun time, guys. It's a fun time. Yeah, 0 day to expiry options. Yeah, I'm not touching those either. All right, we're rebounded back up here. We just got really close to this low. Again, I haven't really traded much at all right now. All right, let me pull up Chat GPT. All right, so where's the previous closing price on the NASDAQ from yesterday? It was 19,152. And it's currently 810. All right, guys. So the NASDAQ overnight is down about 1.41%. It's not the worst it could ever be. I'm going to take a very small short here. Short-term trade. Very small. And we're going to jump in short and just take like one little baby trade. Just see if we get some flushes here. I just think we're so close to the previous lows, which is right here, that like there might be an edge in attacking it this way. So we got a little bit of an edge here. Getting very close. All right, we're just gonna go ahead and scalp that and make a little bit of money there. A little small gain right there. We'll take it. Probably could have held it a little bit longer, but that's all right. We're just gonna try to build up a small cushion at the opening bell. Slightly green. We're just scalping here, guys. I'm not taking any long, super big positions here. I'm just attacking shorts, and we got out right when we should have. It looks like. Don't copy me. Not an investment professional. Yeah, I mean, guys, listen, the NASDAQ prior to this move was up 105%. 105%. in the last 2 years, right? So, like, again, the NASDAQ went from 105 minus 15. So, the NASDAQ's still up 90% here. Chat, 90% in the last 2 years. And so, yeah, I mean, context is everything. When in doubt, zoom out. And when you zoom out, NASDAQ is up almost 100% on the year. I still think it's probably up too much. I'm not really interested in buying up anything right now. But we'll see. And you don't ever want to get to the point, guys, where like if you're bearish short term, you hate all bears. Or if you're bullish short term, or if you're bearish short term, you hate all bulls. If you're bullish short term, you hate all bears. Like this isn't the blood and Crips. Like, let's just be reasonable here and understand there might be edge on both sides at any moment. You got to just figure it out. There's a lot of variance. I still wish I would have held this short a little bit, but let's see if it would have worked out. Yeah, in 2023, NASDAQ was at about 11,000. It got up to 22. That was a 100% gain, depending on where you look at it. Like, time might have gone by, but 100% gain. Depends on what context you look at it. I could look at it 10.5 and go to 22,450. And the NASDAQ was up 103%, 113% in 2.3 years. You know what I mean? It's just like it's close enough percentages to basically be right. Now, even with this big pullback here, if we look at, let's see, the NASDAQ in April of 2023, 2 years ago, was at 12.5. 12.5. Currently at about, yeah, it's currently up about 70%, no, give or take, depending on where you look at it, relative to the start of 2023, so 2.3 years ago. It's up about 90%, give or take. All right, guys, SPY is up to so I wanted to hold this short longer at 18.9s. Yeah, I'm going to put this guy in timeouts. I feel like he's just going to start asking for money, man. Who's Big U? Oh, yeah. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I'm not really up to date with, gangs and stuff. don't know. NBP's Glupinski says our stance has changed even though we kept rates steady. Look at that other news coming out. Kind of slow for news this morning, but Nike moving down. Honestly, we're pretty flat leading into the opening bell in 13 minutes. Chat, we're pretty flat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 to 10 minutes of choppy sideways, slightly down action here. We're getting very close, though, guys. Very close. Here's the low level I'm talking about. Actually, it's this right here. Yeah. Yeah, you just get those scammers that come out. Yeah, you're missing the point, Yair. I know there's some small nuances, difference in the percentages I'm given, but I'm keeping it simple so I can calculate it quickly and, like, you know what I mean? And so the point is, we're up a huge amount in 2 years, and so, yeah. That's the point. The point is I'm not buying up anything, and I made this point in December, and the point honestly was absolutely true. You know, I had some people argue with me. And honestly, I had some people that I know personally argue with me too, talking about how we couldn't crash or correct because of all this stuff. And like, that's honestly the mania that makes me think we're going to correct. When people think we can't, that's when I think we might, you know. When everybody thinks we're going to crash, I usually go the other side too. And honestly, that's not a bad way to look at things. It's not always the most accurate, but it can be sometimes in certain markets. Palantir at 81.50, still kind of consolidating sideways. SPY still right around lows, leading into the opening bell in 10 minutes here. Chat, 10 minutes, so we'll see what we get. 160K number is not big enough to do a giveaway. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you're all good, bro. John, you're the leader of a gang called Beginner Trading? The BT gang, bro. I heard about them, dude. The smartest leader in the world, you know. Genius, they say. I heard it one time. You know. Smartest guy ever out there on the YouTube streets. All right, guys, so we're starting to turn down here. We're at 18.87s. Apple testing this low. Apple just broke down under the low of the last 7 to 8 months. I'm sorry for yelling. Apple just cracked lows of the last 7 to 8 months. Under 206 is now at 205.20s, testing towards 205s. This is probably going to drag the market down. Depending on how much, though, is how big Apple breaks down here. Let's see if it bounces at 205s. But Apple broke lows of the last 7 months again, still tumbling down on tariff news. And, yeah, it ain't good. All right, guys. Nike's still falling down. It's at 55.75s. My friend made a bunch of money in crypto this last year. He quit his job and retired, but he's still holding the crypto. He didn't take profit. Now what? I don't know, bro. It kind of makes me feel bad even thinking about that guy. I'm sorry to hear, you know. There's a lesson. You always take some profit in something like that, you know, I don't know. It depends on how long you hold it. It depends on how much he needs money short term. If you really need money short term, you can take a little bit of, you should have taken a little bit of profit to live right. If you're pretty taken care of already, then you could sit on that thing long term, and it's probably going to keep going up, but who freaking knows, man? We'll see. Honestly, the Mexican Coca-Cola drinks are always better. And the glass bottles, those are better. Swiss government official says there are some agriculture issues that could be looked into in the negotiating process. All right, guys, 7 minutes left, 7 minutes. Yeah. All right, chat. Green or red at the opening bell? Chat, green or red at the opening bell? It's looking red, but you never know, man. And the last time the market looked really red leading into the opening bell, it ended up rebounding in the first hour or two like a huge amount. So we will see how the market responds here. It says OpenAI shut down hundreds of startups. Honestly, I probably recognize that. So last year, I did a software. I created a software. It was an AI software. It was honestly a pretty cool software. It took the developers, the devs, a couple months. I would have built it. I did some of it myself, but the devs did most of it. I would have done it, but to be honest, by the time they finished the software, and I spent like 14 grand on the software. By the time they finished it, OpenAI could do everything that the software did. And I recognize, like, hey, at least it's a write-off, right? I can write that thing off, and so that, you know, reduces my taxable income a little bit. And so I'm okay with it at this point in time. But yeah. So, the point is, AI has gotten way, way better in the last year. Way better. Way better. No, it wasn't a trading bot. It was a resource. It was a AI resource. It was like an AI web application is what it was. Honestly, it might still be pretty cool, but I'd rather just write it off at this point in time, and so y'all will probably never see it. Yeah, it's just gotten so much better, and you have to think about the exponential effect of that over the next 10, 15 years, how much better AI is going to get. It's one of the reasons, like, NVIDIA is probably going to be fine, regardless of any short-term corrections or pullbacks. You know, one of the things that we're going to see in markets, in my opinion, and maybe I'm wildly wrong, but one of the things that we're going to see in markets over the next 5, 10, 15 years is that we're going to see a much more weighted consolidation of tech in markets, right? We're already pretty weighted towards tech. The Mag 7 is a good example of this, right? But I think it's going to become even more dense in terms of technology stocks. Like, technology stocks are going to become much, much more weighted in almost all indices over the next 5 to 10 years, much more than any other companies. And I think that's pretty obvious, right? Tech is growing at a fast pace. AI is going to make that so, most likely at least. But I'm not an investment professional. I don't know. Look at this rebound back up, though. So we're bouncing back up. Apple running into that previous 206 level. Look at this level here, chat. So we ran right into this 206 level. I didn't get scammed. Honestly, they made some pretty cool stuff. Like, honestly, the application was cool. But you got to think of how much better OpenAI and ChatGPT has gotten over the last 12 months. And so, honestly, the devs did everything I wanted them to do. But, you know, it's kind of how it goes. You got to take risks when you're young. And my wallet can handle it, to be honest. I'll be all right. All right, so we're bouncing back. We're at 18,920s, 18,920s. Yeah, I originally thought that they would use tree structure algorithms for AI, but now it's different now. I'm young enough. I'm under 40, and so I'm not going to be specific about my age. When I say young, I mean like when you're not 50. When you're 50, 60, it's past the time to take risks, and it's the time to just kind of protect your assets and live good. All right, guys, we got 2.5 minutes left. 2.5 minutes. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't, even if you guys got it right, I wouldn't tell you guys. I'm not going to give you guys my social either. Should be pretty understandable. Microsoft just popped up a little bit, but then retraced a big amount prior to the opening bell. Apple just broke that lows under 205s for a split second, just hit 204.70s for Apple. Leading into the opening bell in 2 minutes, chat, 2 minutes. Amazon 103s rebounding back up. Microsoft back up to 375. So we are seeing a rebound in tech prior to the opening bell, although Nvidia is kind of falling down some. It's at 103.50s. We got 1.5 minutes left, chat. My first pet name was Tugboat. Top 3 least true things in the world right now. Least true things in the world. We're rebounding back up. We're at 18,925s. Less than a minute, chat. Less than a minute. Will we get chaotic action at the opening bell? We'll see. Claims might be right here. All right, here we go. 20 seconds. 20 seconds. All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Opening bell. Nvidia breaking lows at the opening bell. Down to 103.30s. Chat, 103.30s. Doesn't mean anything yet. It's too close to the opening bell to really see what happens. Could obviously retrace back up. It did break lows just because it opened up so close to lows, but it doesn't mean anything yet. Apple is probably the stock that the market's going to be really weighted to this morning, and it's moving up so far at the opening bell. It's at 206. NASDAQ bouncing back a little bit here. We're at 57s right now. 57s on Nike. Palantir is at 82s. Microsoft at 375s. Big rebound back up here, chat. Let's see if we hold. Market is really trying here. John drives a Beetle? Nah, bro. Tesla? Where's Tesla at? Let's see. Tesla green at 270s at the opening bell. Look at Apple pump up. It's at 104.50s. Or Nvidia, I mean. Apple's at almost 208s. 270s for Tesla, 270s. We hit 19,000 right here. This is a big milestone level, 19K. The NASDAQ heading back up here. Apple's turning a little bit here, though. This is kind of a big spot for Apple. We're still too close to the opening bell. I got to wait 3 to 4 minutes at least. All right, guys. Look at Apple turn here. Look at Apple turn. 205s. Apple might break lows again here. Look at Apple down to 205s. Kind of bounced quickly, though. Palantir flying up to 83s. Yeah, I know, Anna. I'm joking. My first dog's name isn't Tugboat. Great name, though. Great name. Honestly, if I had another dog, I might name him Tugboat just because I like the name. But I understand what they're asking me. I'm just kind of trolling them a little bit. All right, guys. So, look, we're at this $19,000 level on the NQ. Nvidia's turning a little bit as well here. I almost want to short here, guys. I think I'm going to. Kind of a crazy short. We're green on the day. We'll play with it. Too much stuff is kind of turning. And so we're going to do a small risk reward trade here. And then if we lose, it's not the end of the world. We made enough yesterday to where we'll be okay. I'm going to add to this, see if we turn back down. But it's a risky short too. I don't usually trade this close to the opening bell as well, so like I'm playing with this here. I'm gonna take half off there just to protect it. The problem is Nvidia spiking up here too. The good thing about micros is that we can take really small trades. I'm probably gonna have to cut this very soon. Yeah, we'll get out. So we're down a little bit on the day shorting. I'm going to switch accounts so I don't end up losing too much money here on this account. Kind of good risk management. A lot of volatility on the upside though, man. Wow. All right, guys, market's churning up here. Churning up. Sheesh. Chaos. Yeah, look at Apple holding at 206s. Nvidia at 104s. I just made some of the money back in the account too, but I've got 4 funded accounts. And again, we're green in every account that we have, I think. Let me see. We're green or flat in every account that we have. Yeah, we're green in every account that we have. And then we still have to activate one of them that we got funded in last week. And again, we're on Top Step's funded account program. They give you a 50K demo. If you can make 3K in profit without losing 2K on the base one, they fund you 50K with a 90% split as long as you follow their rules. No PDT in futures. Futures market very similar to day trading stocks. All right, this is a turn right now. This is a turn. Let's see if we bounce off a 19K, my level here. And you can see how technical analysis can sometimes work here. But again, it's a great way to learn how to day trade. If you fail, they give you a practice account with real-time data. You can practice and learn and grow. And you only lose $50 for the base one a month. If you pass it, you get a 50K funded account with a 90% split. You get to keep your first 10K prior to that. Great way to learn. Most day traders lose. Doesn't matter what course you take, what your mentor is. Most day traders lose. And so it's a lot cheaper to learn and lose here. You have to pay a market tuition when learning day trading. Most day traders lose for years before they win. It's a lot cheaper to lose here and get that market tuition in and learn how to take risks and trade without too much risk versus funding your own account thousands of dollars and losing that like most new traders end up doing, including myself in the beginning of my trading. A futures market, very similar to day trading stocks. And Top Step's the most legit one in the world. And if you use Top Step X, there's 0 commission as well. This is only my second plug in hours and hours, guys. Top 3 best plug of the world right now. I'm the top 3 most biased trader of all time, though. Understand CFTC 4.41, hypothetical or simulated performance have limitations, guys. Not an investment professional. I'm not liable if you lose money. Always take your own assessment, risk, and yeah, understand all these rules, guys. I have no freaking idea what I'm talking about. Here's the link in chat if you want to help support your boy here in the channel. I appreciate it. Market's pulling back after running up this morning at the opening bell. Let's see if it holds. Oh, we got services PMI, guys. I forgot. We got services PMI data today. Whew. All right. We got services PMI. I forgot about this, man. All right, guys. So there we go. All right, guys. And again, so this is what happens today. I forgot about this. So this is what happens today at 9:45 in the morning. Rest in peace to Val Kilmer, by the way. At 9:45 this morning, we got base S&P Final Services PMI. It's not the big one. The big one is ISM, which is the Institute of Supply Management at 10. But at 9:45 in about 6.5 minutes, it's expected at 54.2. 54.2. ISM Services PMI data, 10 a.m. expected at 52.9. And then S&P Services PMI 945 expected at 54.2. All right, so here's the reports, guys. Here's the reports. Market's rising back up. It's over 19,000. It held support at this $19,000 level. Nvidia bouncing back up. Apple's still weak, and I still think Apple's going to lead the market a little bit. So we'll see what happens with Apple moving forward. Yeah, Nvidia trying to get back up there. Apple just cracked lows, though. Lows of the last 7 months for Apple. Down to under 204, under 205. Broke lows down to 204.30s. This might drag everything else down, too, because Apple is kind of leading the market a little bit. Like, look at Apple crack lows, and then look at the turn that Nvidia just took. It doesn't mean we're going to break down here. Depends on what Apple does down here. If Apple keeps falling, it's probably going to pull the market down a little bit. Tesla's bouncing back a lot, though. Tesla at 276. Oof. All right, watch 19K. Apple testing 204s now. Nvidia's starting to turn a little bit as well here, guys. All right, chat. Again, be careful. Microsoft at 370s. In about 3.5 minutes, we've got S&P Services. Look at Apple fall. Apple under 204s. Nvidia turning. Yeah, it's too early for anybody to celebrate bears or bulls. This is why, like, people got to stop being so emotional about who cares what other direction traders are taking. You know what I mean? Like, market might go up, down, sideways. The variance at the open is super heavy. And, yeah. Who knows, man? Market can do anything right now. All right, Apple's still breaking down at 203s, and this is the 7-month lows. Again, guys, we got 2.5 minutes left. 2.5 minutes left until S&P Services PMI data. You can see the expected numbers right below me in yellow. Apple breaking down some here. It's at 202.90s. 202.90s. Again, my hands are kind of off here. We got data coming out, and then we also just have big, brutal action, but we're not close enough to these lows to make me optimistic about shorting, and we're too close to the lows to make me optimistic about going long. So my hands are kind of off right now. We're green. Or no, we're flat. Yeah, we're flat. And the market can do anything here, to be honest, man. You just gotta be careful. And we're honestly green on the other account we were trading. I'll show you guys this account that we traded initially at the opening bell. We're up like small, but we're green. You can see the trades. We lost 60 and then another 55. We made 16, 18, 19, 20, 27. These are profit taking 30, 20. So we're green, but all right, guys, 30 seconds left until the economic report drops. 30 seconds left. So we'll see what it gets. All right, guys, it's expected at 54.3 roughly. 15 seconds. 15 seconds. And here's the report, right? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And right now. See what it shows. I don't know if it's even going to move markets. The ISM one's the big one. Waiting. Late. All right, guys. Services came in at 54.4. 54.4 versus 54.3 prior. And so again, 54.4. 54.3 prior. I'll put this up on screen, but not really any move to markets. Again, the ISM services in about 15 minutes are going to be the one that might move things if we do move from this stuff. Hey, thank you, Roofing. Appreciate it, bro. Thank you, sir. John, so you really don't have a strategy? You just trade off of pure market analysis? Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm against strategies. You know, I'm against patterns. I'm against candlesticks. Like, what I do is, like, I put a dart up. I draw a bunch of prices on, like, a whiteboard. And then I take some darts and I just kind of throw them at the whiteboard. And whichever price we hit, that's like my buy level. You know. And I just kind of trade that way. I don't even know what a candlestick or a price is, bro. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just randomly here, bro. I'm just here to, you know, talk about markets. Anyways, we're holding at this 18,950 level. Nah, to be honest, on a serious note, obviously I'm being sarcastic here. But what I'm honestly doing is I'm documenting milestone important levels like this, like this, like this. And I'm trading the tests and movement around those levels is what I do. That's what I do. I attack trends, you know. I attack levels. And I use like the 200 exponential milestone levels, support and resistance areas that I use. The way I find the levels, if it's a milestone level, like a big whole dollar level, I'll document it. If we have more than like 3 to 4 confirmations over the last week or two, I'll document it. And I just look for isolated highs and lows, milestone levels, support and resistance, and I trade off of those, brother. All right, guys. So look, here's that 18,850 level, or 18,950. I mean, again, we're now under the 200 exponential, under the 200 EMA, and look, we're bouncing right off of this 850. So this is what I mean. Like, even if we end up breaking down, look at that hold right at this level. There's a reason I document these levels on my chart. Even if we break down, like this little bounce can sometimes pay me, if that makes sense, right? Doesn't mean we're gonna hold, but like you can kind of see, you can identify where markets might stop for a second in terms of levels, and that's a powerful edge if you do it right. And so that's what I try to do here. Yeah, look at that bounce right at this 18,950 level, and I talked about it before we bounced just now, so just to clarify that. But this is what I do. This is how I trade. I'm not even claiming to be a good trader, but like this is how I do it. Magic 8 ball? Yeah, maybe. All right, so now we're testing that level again. I never attack retests either, because a lot of the time we'll move down to the level, bounce a little bit, and then retest it. And the retest is where we really kind of dump underneath it. Sometimes we hold, but just in terms of like probabilities, I'd never attack retests, if that makes sense, just because there's too big of a likelihood that the retest is going to be the one that it breaks down underneath it, in all honesty. Now, sometimes it holds and it confirms it again, but a lot of the time the retest is the level where I don't want to touch it there. And with that said, there it goes. I mean, I don't know. This might actually still be confirming it. We'll see. Still too early. It depends on what Apple and Nvidia do here, though. All right, so we did actually bounce at the 950 level again here, so. But again, I'm not really gonna mess with the retests still. Even if we bounce here, it's just not worth it. Like here's 19s, but it's kind of a retest of 19s, but I'm not gonna touch this either. 9 minutes, chat. 9 minutes. And honestly, guys, people underestimate how big tomorrow is. And again, I'm going to say this again. Every day, we cover all the macroeconomic reports, data, market movements, finance, stock news, movement, earnings, Jerome Powell, CPI, PPI. Whatever comes out, we cover it live every single day. If you want a one-stop shop that we cover all the stuff live, subscribe, hit the notification bell, tune in. We start the stream usually at like 7:15 market time in the morning. We're really early. We cover all of it as it happens. Tomorrow we got non-farm payrolls, unemployment, and Jerome Powell, and we're going to cover all of it, stream all of it live on stream. So subscribe. Tomorrow's payroll report is actually, in the landscape of what's going on with tariffs, incredibly important. Incredibly important. And so you want to tune in to tomorrow's payroll report, as well as what Jerome Powell says at 11:25 Eastern Standard Time. So we did stop at that 18,947 level, this yellow level right here. And then you can see this is kind of what we do, but it's not always going to work perfect. We're going to miss out on some of these bounces, but the point remains. You can see how solid this level was on the chart, this big bright yellow level. This level is the other big level I think is important, 18,820. It's the low of the last 7 months on the NASDAQ. Again, I talked about these levels before. NVIDIA, that level is 102, 102.15, whatever you want to call it. And Apple, the level this morning that we talked about was 206. And you can kind of see we tested that level for a little while, but then Apple broke down underneath. And I'm curious to see what Apple does if it makes it all the way back up to this 206 level. I think that's an interesting spot to watch because that was such a big level prior to the breakdown underneath it. And so maybe we can reject there. Maybe if we get back over that, the sentiment short term can change to a bullish sentiment. And I think that's what we got to watch for right now in markets. Powell speaking at 11:25 market time, 11:25. So Mexican President Sheinbaum says she does not expect a call with U.S. President Trump to happen soon. All right, so we're up again. We're very sideways right now, guys. I'm just not really interested in attacking any of this stuff. Apple running into the volume weighted average price. If Powell says stagflation-y, I don't think he's ever going to say that. That's a John word right there, you know. Irregardless of whether he says stagflation-y, you know. Top 3 greatest word ever. I don't know. And yes, I recognize irregardless is not an actual correctly used word. I think it's in the definition, or it's in the encyclopedia now, but it's still not a word, you know. Yeah, I mean, honestly, we're sideways right now. We're just trying to gauge market direction. Powell's not speaking today, no. Powell is speaking tomorrow at 11:25 in the morning. And we're going to stream that live. You can subscribe here. We'll cover it live as it happens. Yeah, tomorrow we got economic outlook from Powell at the Society for Advancing Business Editing and Writing, SABEW, annual conference in Virginia. All right, guys, we got 4.5 minutes until ISM Services PMI. This is the bigger one that might actually influence markets. Services PMI, especially ISM Services, can have a big move on markets, a big influence over markets. And so this is something that you probably want to watch right now, guys. Probably want to watch this services report. SPY up to 545s. Here we go, guys. 4 minutes. All right, so SPY coming back down again. Sideways action right now. Chat ahead of this report. 2.5 minutes. Three minutes. Yeah, guys. And again, help support the boy, your boy here in this channel. Check out our free Discord. Completely free Discord. Doesn't cost anything. Great way to help support your boy here in this channel. Join our Discord. Honestly, you can hang out after the stream, talk about markets, talk about finance. Discord is kind of like a chat room. And so if you want to check it out, here is the link. Doesn't cost a penny. And great way to help support the channel too. Discord, not discount. Yellow line won't hold this time. Yeah, it's another retest of it. I gotta just wait. We got 2 minutes left as well. And honestly, fundamental reports trump technicals, pun intended, I guess. And so it doesn't matter how good this technical level is. If ISM Services comes out disappointing for whatever reason, you know, we might do something like that. It doesn't mean we will. We might also do nothing and just kind of chop sideways or go up or down. We could go up or down from this report. Depends on what the market fears. I think a stronger services sector could be good and bad, depending on the context. If the market really fears inflation, they might actually not like a super high services report. But we'll have to wait and see. We don't really know how the market's going to respond to this. Again, it's expected at 53 or so. Right now, 52.9 to 53. We got about 1.5 minutes. Make sure you hit the live button next to the play button as well to make sure you're caught up on the stream. Again, hit the live button next to the play button as well. Make sure you're caught up, chat. We appreciate it. All right, 1 minute, 10 seconds. 1 minute, 10 seconds. All right, guys. Try not to drink too much coffee today. All right, guys, 30 seconds. 30 seconds. Market is very flat. Nvidia's been pushing up since the opening bell. Apple at 204.20s here. Here we go. $15 seconds. 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Here's the report. Okay, ISM services 50.8, weaker than expected. 50.8 versus 53 expected. 50.8, weaker than expected services sector for ISM services. The market originally went down. Again, weaker than expected services at 50.8 versus 53 expected. 50.8 versus 53 expected. Orders came in at 50.4. So honestly, we went down to this level again and bounced right off of it, but not really a huge move for services. Tomorrow's the big report, I guess. But again, we showed up at 50.8 versus 53 expected here. Now, we did drop some from this report. We did have weaker services. Services is basically non-manufacturing sector. Anything that's not manufacturing is services. But so we did show a little bit weaker economic report here. But the market honestly might like that because of inflation data, or it could also fear it if we have recession risks, depending on which side, the public falls on is going to influence what the market wants here. But this is a pretty small reaction in all honesty. Not the biggest reaction here to this report. Tomorrow, guys, one thing that we know is going to react the market is payrolls. Tomorrow's non-farm payroll report is one of the biggest reports this week. We're going to stream it live as we always do. Payrolls are expected to come in weaker than last time for March at 137 versus 150s last time. Last time we showed 150s. They're expecting a decrease to 137. Private non-farm payrolls expected at 130, a decrease of 10,000 from 140 last time. Unemployment rate is also releasing tomorrow at 8:30 in the morning. It's expected at 4.1%. 4.1%. And again, we're going to cover this all live as it happens. This is why we get thousands of people tune in for these streams, because we cover it quickly as soon as it drops. And so again, if you want a great place to help support the channel, great place to see everything going on, subscribe, hit the notification bell. We appreciate it, guys. Yeah, market honestly didn't react. We had this little candle wick right here. It's still too early to tell, but we're honestly really consolidating back and forth, and we don't really have anything else for the rest of the day. We got like Canadian unemployment tomorrow. Yeah, we had ISM services, business activity, all that stuff. But prices were a little bit lower. Non-manufacturing prices were actually a little bit lower than last time. They came in at 60.9 versus 62.6. And yeah, outside of that, we don't really have. Oh, we got the Fed GDP now for quarter one. It's expected at minus 3.7%. Watch this at 1 o'clock today, guys. 1 o'clock, we got the Atlanta Fed GDP now for the first quarter, and it is expected at 3.7%. 3.7%. That's It's a very weak, and that's for the current quarter right now, for the current quarter. And so the reason I was talking about stagflation earlier is because a lot of people think the current quarter is going to be negative. But 3.7%, that's a different degree of negativity, I think. All right, so here's the decrease, a little bit of a delayed reaction. Have you tried Kevin Gates' coffee? Is it called Satellites? A little bit of a delayed response from services data here, guys. All right, so we did get this big decrease from the weaker manufacturing data, just a little delayed, I think, here. All right, I'm going to try to short this. Small, but nonetheless, we'll see if we catch anything good. There we go. Quick little $30 gain here. And again, this kind of goes to show, like, once we break underneath one of these big milestone levels, we can attack the retest of it and break down, which is kind of what we did just now. Weakness showed up. We attacked it. Up about $100 on this account on the day. Not too bad. A little small gain, but maybe should have held it a little bit longer. Yeah, it's Bruce. I'm going to get out of here, though, guys. Hey, I love you all. Y'all have a great day. Tomorrow, be here again. You want to watch somebody that actually understands this stuff? Be here. You know, I'll see you guys tomorrow, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. You want to check out Top Step. Great way to help support your boy here on this channel. No PDT roll on futures. You can day trade the S&P, the NASDAQ, the Dow, the Russell, gold, some currencies. This is a Top Step funded account that I'm trading on today. You can use my levels. I can't guarantee anything, though. I'm not an investment professional. It's just a great way to learn how to day trade when most day traders lose money. And so it limits your risk. If you fail, they give you a practice account you can learn on. If you pass it, 50K funded account, 90% split for the base one. They pay out almost $200 million in the last 4 years. It might be over that now, honestly. They've been around for over 12 years. They're the most legit one in the world, regardless of what anybody else says. And honestly, I'm the top 3 most biased person in that regard in the world as well. Top 3 most biased ever. Understand CFTC 4.41 hypothetical or simulated performance have limitations. I have no freaking idea what I'm talking about. Don't copy me. Not an investment professional. I do trade off stream sometimes. You're not going to see it. Don't even claim to be a good trader. Here's the link in the chat if you want to check it out. I appreciate everybody here. Honestly, we've had a pretty good week. Let me look at my stats. I don't even know how I've been trading this week. It's been a pretty good week. Honestly, we're 4 for 4 this week. I didn't even see that. Here is the last couple months here on this account. I'll show you guys. So, in this account that I've been trading on, here is my stats. Out of the last, like, people can say whatever they want about my trading, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, we're running 80% daily accuracy here. We only have 2 losing days out of 10. Last 10 trading days. I'll take it. Pretty good so far. Pretty good. We'll keep grinding up this account. Hey, have a great day. I'll see you guys later. Y'all be good.